thought we would do a sketchbook tour. I'm really excited about this one because I really got into the sketchbook right around the end and loved so many of the pieces in it. And it's really been an inspiring sketchbook. So I really hope you enjoy, and let's just get right into it. All right, guys, let's get into this. Be sure to grab any coffee or tea or water that you're drinking right now and get cozy, or grab your sketchbook and sketch along with me and use this for inspiration. Let's get into it. So starting strong, I always love to start with a self-portrait if I can. So this one was in May of this year, and I really just enjoyed the simplicity of this graphite sketch. This one was really fun to do, and I can't remember what kind of pencil I used for this, but it was a really fun drawing and it felt stylized enough to have fun with, but I feel like it does actually look quite like me. So this next one I will have to cover up because YouTube will not like it, but it was just a figure study that I ended up decorating over, and she is very beautiful and I really liked drawing this one, but I found out very, very quickly that I don't like to color over graphite sketches. It just wasn't working for me and it looked really muted and a little sad, so I ended up not really liking this one. These are just some flowers that I was drawing along with some Pink Floyd song lyrics, and I love the colors of these. These are some of my favorite color combinations, this warm orange, red, yellow tone, and then like a yellow green color. It is just, it's so pleasing to me. In this sketchbook, you will see a lot of calendars in the beginning. I really wanted to make like a digital calendar of sorts for myself, mostly for my lock screen on my iPad, just because I think it looks really nice. But I ended up going digitally for a lot of these. So I got pretty far, and then you'll see that I gave up like halfway through 2026 or so, and I ended up doing it digitally. But I think they're quite cute. So here's January and February, March and April. April is one of my favorites. I think it turned out just absolutely darling. I love the little bows. May, and the Queen of Hearts here. I was really just testing my Copic markers and seeing how they bled through on this page. And I didn't have a ton of bleed through. It didn't go to the next page much. I did put a piece of paper down just in case, but I still don't like how much it bleeds through. I know that's kind of, you know, par for the course for Copic markers, for alcohol markers in general, but I really don't like how it bleeds and how it shows. So I don't really use them much in this sketchbook. June, July, and August, and I believe this is where I ended with this. August was really cute. I really liked the little shooting stars and the detailing up there. That was very, very fun. So this is actually one of my favorite pages, even though I didn't quite like it at the time. So I was just doodling some colors and I thought, oh, you know, I'll do the blob challenge where you draw stuff that's in the shape of the blobs. But I ended up just not really wanting to do that, so I just used it as a background for some ink drawings and colored a few of them in. So we've got some tomatoes and some Chinese takeout. And this is actually, my partner got me a Polaroid photo printer, and they've got like this sticky paper on it. It's so cool. And I wanted to see how it holds up in a sketchbook. So unfortunately, it does peel really easily, so I don't use this much in the sketchbook at all. But I wanted to throw that on there. So that's one of the designs from my iPad. This fish guy, I used my Caran d'Ache Neo colors, these guys here. I got some, you know, some for testing out and for my sketchbook. I believe I was just working with a really limited color palette, so I think I might have only had these 4 at the time. And it was really fun to work with, and I wanted to test how they work with waters because I don't often use them with watercolors or with water in general, but they really create such a fun texture, and I don't use them much more in the sketchbook for that, if at all, but I really liked what it did here. So I'll have to play around with that some more. So this page, I'm really torn because I don't like how this turned out, but I absolutely love how this page turned out. So I usually treat my pages as separate entities, but for this one, definitely. So this was just a drawing that I used. I didn't even use a reference photo for it. I was just doodling, and I kind of gave up on it after this, and the rest of the page was blank for quite a few pages after, and I came back and finished it with just some more ink drawings, and really nothing special, just some flowers. I was just playing around with lines and seeing what I could do and how abstract I could make the flowers, but have them still look, you know, recognizable like flowers, and I think they turned out okay. As for this drawing, I absolutely love her. I think she turned out beautiful. I love the fullness of her hair and all of the lines in there, and the colors I used were just so pleasing and soft and feminine, and I thought they turned out beautiful. Her eyes turned out absolutely stunning, and I definitely go back to this drawing every once in a while just to look at it. So for these, I was actually testing out my watercolors. So I have the Winsor and Newton set here. I think they're the Cotman watercolors, and it's the 12 color set. Of course, I don't really use the white very much at all, but you can tell that it's very well loved and my favorite colors, and I really do use this set quite often. They're really good watercolors. I really like them. I will say you really do have to pre-soak them to get any sort of pigment out. So if you're on the go, maybe bring just a little extra water or a spray bottle or something, a little one, because it takes a little bit of coaxing to get the color out. But that's what I used for these here, and then of course colored pencil on top. I really like how her proportions turned out. I love the big ears and big nose. I think that that's so pretty, and the color of her ears, it's just so fun. I love that red tone is in her skin here. And this was just some more doodles. I like filling my sketchbook with hands when I don't really know what to do, and extracting that color palette to look at in the future, because sometimes it's really helpful for larger pieces to look back in your sketchbook and see what colors you actually use to create what you're seeing. So same thing here, I pulled out that color palette for the most part, along with a little star for embellishment. But this was, I believe, just a Pinterest photo, and using her outfit as a reference. I really liked it. It was so bulky, but feminine at the same time. I loved those shoes that she was wearing, and I really was just playing around with my watercolors and mixing, and really enjoyed that. So moving on to this page, I was testing out some tarot card drawings. So every once in a while, I get the idea that I want to draw tarot cards, but it's such an undertaking. So I don't really ever go very far with it because it's just so much work. There are so many cards, there's a lot of meaning to them. You really want symbolism in their illustrations, and it's just so difficult sometimes. So I don't really ever go far with it, but it is really fun to practice and to see what you can create with the symbolism and the imagery that is already on the cards, or your own thoughts, and it's really fun to do. So that's what this page is, and I did end up taking that star, or that moon, and moving it elsewhere. I did use it directly on the page afterwards because I liked it so much, so I think it'll end up in more of my pieces because it's just pretty. I really do like how I did these leaves as well. So this was a drawing, or painting I should say, for an oil painting that I've started. So I did do this in a previous YouTube video. You can go watch that on my channel. I believe that's my travel vlog for September or October. We went up to Sturgeon Bay in Wisconsin and really just explored. We went camping and did a lot of hiking and saw a few lighthouses. And really it was inspiring. I loved the colors, and it was such a beautiful time of year. So I really do, if you're in the area, or even if you're not, if you want to travel, I do recommend Door County in Wisconsin. It's a little touristy in town, but if you love to camp, it is a really beautiful area. So more from that, I really loved the birch trees up there. There are so many birch trees up there, and it's just a beautiful area. And I wanted to bring that home with me, so I made sure to at least include a few birch trees and the leaves and the seedlings that are, that are dropping. And it's really nice to go back and remember that that's where I was this year. So for this, this was such a fun page to create. So this took me a while. It's very detailed to me, and I used a lot of layers. So I started off with a watercolor base for this guy and went in with my Caran d'Ache Neocolors as well, and some colored pencils to really hone in those colors. So it's really rich. And I got new colors for my Neocolors, and this blue really surprised me. I normally don't like blue. It's not my favorite color. I don't use it very often, especially rich blues like this. A Payne's Gray is typically as blue as I'll go, especially in my landscapes. And this one really surprised me. So it's sky blue, but I loved how it looked. Like, it really just popped, and with those greens, it really created a depthful piece. So I really enjoyed that, and it definitely surprised me. So I did the same with this beetle here, and just finished the page with my color palette again. I really like looking back at those, and some stars because I quite like them. Here, I think I was traveling and had limited color palette with my markers. I use Tombow markers in my sketchbook often, so that's these guys here, the Tombow water-based brush markers. So they're really fun to do sketchbook work with, but I had a really limited color palette, and I don't love the color that I made her skirt. It's a little too bright for me, but I think she still turned out really pretty, and it's not one of my least favorite pages, that's for sure. These were some ink drawings, no sketching underneath, just went in with, I believe, either this or it might have been my hard tip, but these Tombow brush pens, I really like these. They've got such a good bend to them, and a small tip, so you've got quite a lot of control, really. So they're good for fine lines. I really love how she turned out. She kind of reminds me of Julia Stiles, but I really love how this page turned out. It's really pleasing. This page, I was just having fun and doodling, and really nothing special, but playing around with my colors. I believe I was watching TV at the time, so whatever I was watching was influencing my drawings. And I don't hate the page, but it's not one of my favorites, and I think that the composition could have been quite a lot better. You know, my bottom got cut off here, and this probably shouldn't have been the larger part, but it's just the sketchbook, so that's why that's there. So this drawing I really love. This I think I'll turn into a larger piece once I have the right canvas for it, because I think it's just so beautiful, and the concept is really unique to me. I love how I did the stones here. This was just with my trusty chalk pastel pencil, or pastel chalk. I believe it's the Generals. I have it in purple here as well, but I don't use the purple one very often. I have this in like a, well, it's sanguine. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's the color that I use most often, and I quite love these. I've gone through a few of these already. I used that as the base, and then I believe I used PC 1095, my favorite Prismacolor colored pencil, on top. This is one of my favorite pages, just all together. I think both turned out really well. This was a ballpoint pen drawing, I believe a picture just off Pinterest, so if you recognize her, let me know. But this one was Tombow brush markers and colored pencil, and I don't use them as often as I used to because I've kind of fallen back in love with watercolors lately. So I really like how these colors turned out together, and that pop of purple has really been getting me lately. This is one of my struggle pages. I don't like it very much at all, but I did do some figure studies on this one to try to get back into things. I believe I was going through a little bit of an art block or just a low creativity point. I felt like my skills were kind of regressing and I was having a hard time doing what I normally do. And these drawings just really aren't my favorite. I don't know what I was doing. This turned out okay, but really I should have just gone back to the basics and kept with some figure drawings or practicing while I was having this hard time. So I kind of went through a face phase. I believe a lot of these next pages have faces on them, but this drawing, graphite again, but I really love how she turned out. I kind of gave up by the time I got to the hair because I was so tired of working on this piece, even though I loved it. I don't normally do expressions. So for me to work on that, I was very proud of it. Of course, I sit, looking at my sketchbook like this. So she got a little long, but it's okay. I think she turned out really cool anyway. And these were more ink drawings, so I was really inspired by that previous page where I didn't do any sketching, and I kind of just flowed with it. Usually, these are my hands as reference, so the proportions are probably a little weird. I've been told I have really long fingers, so I always try to compensate, and then the palm looks unnaturally large afterwards. This is one of my favorite pages on the left here, coupled with one of my least favorite pages on the right, as that usually happens. So I think she turned out beautiful. I really love this purple here. I've been really into that color lately, and I had so much fun painting her. Of course, this isn't watercolor paper, it's mixed media paper. It doesn't take water as well as any watercolor paper would, so I did have a hard time, creating that beautiful blend that watercolors typically have, but I still really had a fun time with it, and I think she turned out really nice. So this page, I had just gotten home from Christmas, and I got the Kuretake Ganzai watercolors, and I really was just pushing it to its limit. I was adding colors and more colors and drawing whatever and not really thinking about it too hard, and it didn't turn out great, but I had a really fun time, at least with these pairs, so maybe I'll draw some more pairs. And then the final page of the sketchbook, I really wanted to practice more anatomy. I received a beautiful Christmas gift, the Constructive Anatomy book by George B. Bridman. And this really just has some really useful pieces of anatomy in here. So I went through, and you can see I kind of just drew what was in the book a few times because it's so useful to just practice and repeat what you see when you're trying to study anatomy and learn what everything is and how the arm functions and things like that. So I had a really fun time doing this, and I'll definitely be doing more of this in my sketchbook next. And then the last page of my sketchbook is always just a test page for colors. I don't always know how something's gonna turn out, and it's really nice to just be able to throw something in there and say, okay, that's, what that color looks like, especially with markers. Sometimes the cap really doesn't look quite like the color that comes out. So that's what I use here. And it looks like I just pasted in a drawing from a loose leaf sheet of paper from April of this year before I even started this sketchbook. So that concludes this sketchbook. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing what was in my sketchbook, and I hope you're just as excited as I am to see what is in the next one. I'm so excited to start it, and I seriously cannot wait to finish it and show you guys. I'm really, really excited to put new stickers on the front. This one was really inspiring to see every time I grabbed my sketchbook, and the other one is such a blank slate. I'm really, really excited, so if you have any recommendations on who has the best stickers right now, be sure to let me know in the comments, and I would love to check out any of your stickers or artists that you like. And thank you for sticking around this long, and I hope to see you in the next one.